And we were very, very pleased because, as James just mentioned, most of the men who go to the Immaculate Conception Seminary residence in Douglaston, which is run by the Diocese of Brooklyn, do their college at St. John's University nearby in Queens. So they have a kind of an automatic connection into there. It's easy to go to. But it doesn't mean that we can't make changes and exceptions and fit a program for a particular need and for a particular person, which is the case in here, Brian. Is that? Very much so.
There isn't really one set program. Again, St. John's, most guys are going to St. John's. Now, I like to say to people, I think sometimes people think, whether it's a guy who's discerning or maybe the parents of a guy who's contemplating going to the seminary, the college residence, they think they're somehow going to be stepping out of, they're not going to be going to college anymore. You know, if a kid chooses to, for instance, go to Douglaston, say he goes for a year or two, and say he decided after prayer and discernment he didn't think he was called, he steps out. He's no worse off. He's better off, actually, because of I think the experience at Douglaston. But even academically, he was 2 years at St. John's, getting his degree, his credits there. Sure. He's in the same. His residence changes. It's not like he's at a loss because he took these, a year or two out.
Right. And living at the seminary doesn't mean that you're not going to see your family. Many people think that they're stepping into a monastery, where it's more of a dorm. But an intimate dorm. It's 30 guys living together right now that we eat together, we hang out together, we play ping pong, we go out, get food. It's a very relaxed atmosphere, and we're able to go home on Friday nights and spend Saturdays with our families and see them every week. It's really a beautiful setup.
How did the other guys, your friends at St. Joseph's in Patrick, how did they react when you told them?
I tell everyone that Long Island is on fire, and it's amazing how many groups of people are discerning and going to holy hours and attending daily mass. At St. Joseph's alone, I know like almost a dozen people that are discerning the priesthood or the sisterhood or the diaconate. So my friends were very receptive. And the ones that, actually everybody was very receptive, because they had gotten to know me for who I am. And then they were able to see, like, oh wow, James wants to do this great thing, and it's really brought them up, and me as well.
How is this what you're finding? James is saying we're on fire. Are you finding young people like that, Brian?
I think what's going on where you go to school, very much that's the case. We've also, to answer your question, yes, we started, I guess about a year ago, the monthly holy hours at the seminary, where we've got high school, college-age kids. We've got the Friends of the Seminary, which started the whole holy hour 20 years ago. 20 years they've been praying every third Friday of the month for vocations. We kind of plugged into that, and he talked about the places are very much on fire on these Friday nights. It's
just last holy hour, I was kneeling down as adoration was about to begin, and someone whispered into my ear that I had to tell Father Brian that the upper balcony was full and people were going to be sitting on the floors because there was no more room for them. Like, that's beautiful.
Terrific.
That's beautiful.
That's great. Well, we need to take a quick break now. But first, I'd just like to say to our viewers, to read more about vocations, go to telecaretv.org and click on Faith and New Works, the name of this program. There you'll find more information on the very topics we're discussing, along with other resources, and an opportunity, this is new guys, an opportunity to email me at Bishop Murphy, so it's just Bishop Murphy at telecaretv.org. Bishop Murphy at telecaretv.org. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Faith and New Works. I'm having a wonderful time here discussing vocations today with two friends. Father Brian Barr, the Director of Vocations for the Diocese of Rockville Center, and along with him is Mr. James Renner, a seminarian at the Cathedral Seminary residence under the patronage of the Immaculate Conception in Douglaston. Welcome back. It's great to talk with you, and I just think that there's lots of good things that we still have to look at. And one of them, Father Brian, would be, you came to me with a proposal last year, and you came once again with a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of insight, and I think it's going to help us in our whole vocation recruitment. It's a kind of a new push, a new vision. Do you want to share that with people? Because I think a lot of young people would like to know just how it is that you see the possibilities for them.
Sure. Yeah, I am excited about it. Our meeting in January, because really what I asked, I think we said, what would be more effective ways of kind of going after this challenge of encouraging and people to consider priesthood, kind of educating people on the whole idea of like what a vocation is. We've got these huge populations in the diocese here. We've got schools. We've got our own diocesan high schools. We've got religious high schools that are run by religious communities. Well, we've got thousands of our young people every single day. My thinking was, let's take advantage of that in a good way. Let's because we've got their attention. Let's just start to try to make vocation, the idea of vocations, an ongoing reality in their lives. My thinking was, if we can place chaplains in these schools, key individuals, I think that are be really effective working with kids, and who will feel kind of a specific commissioning, in a sense, to focus on the idea of vocations, in addition to being chaplain to all these kids. A number of the chaplains their terms were up, so actually the timing was really good. It was a good time to with new guys coming in. We kind of, or you did, communicated to them the need to really make vocations one of our priorities. I also asked if a practical thing, could we all live together? Could we? My thinking was if these chaplains and myself, they would be high school chaplains. They would also be assigned to our colleges. I mentioned before the campus ministry. So one of them is at Hofstra, one of them is at Adelphi, one of them is at Stony Brook. Again, with vocations as an ongoing theme in their ministry. And if we could be living together, when you're living together, you're talking together more often. You're more focused on kind of the goal and the mission. Thanks to you kind of signed off on all of it. So back in September, myself and Father Joe Fitzgerald, who's the new man at Holy Trinity High School, Father Irenel Rakos, who is at St. Anthony's High School, Joe is at Hofstra, Irenel is as well. Irenel is at Adelphi. Father Mike Holtzman continues to be at St. John the Baptist. Father Jerry Sester went out to McGann Mercy, and he's also chaplain, it's a mouthful, he's also chaplain at Stony Brook. So the hope here is, the plan is that we're meeting much more often, we're planning together. So vocations events aren't just things that I'm dealing with. As vocation director, I'd kind of oversee it all. These guys are in the trenches. These guys are dealing with kids on a daily basis, and the hope would be that's where we'll make some impact.
It's an interesting thing. Remember when you brought that to me, and I said, well, let me just run it by the principals of the high schools where we have chaplains, and I didn't know how they'd respond to this. You just don't know, because they have their own priorities, and to a person, all four of the chaplains, the principals, said to me, this is a great idea. And one of them said, we have lists of the best students, we have lists of the students that need a little extra help, we have lists of the best athletes. Why can't we have lists of those young men and women whom we think may have vocations to priesthood or to religious life? And they said to me, we'll work with these priests.
Right.
So we got a commitment from the principals at the very beginning. They saw this as a value, And I think that's a great thing to know, that we're all working on this thing together.